Are we ready to click the button?
We're ready to hear you. Please go ahead. I'll tell you. Yeah.
Hereby given that a regular meeting of the town of Laguna Beach, Texas will be held Tuesday, the 8th day of August, 2023 at 6 p.m. at the town of Laguna Beach, the City Hall. Laguna Beach, Texas, 78578. Pursuant to Texas Government Code, section 551.127. One or more members of the town council may attend and participate via video conference. The quorum of the town council will be physically present at the above meeting locations. The following items will be discussed. Call to order at 6 o'clock. Vacation and pledge.
Right. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, Lord. We thank you for the many blessings that you continue to bestow upon us in our beautiful town. Lord, we ask you to be with Dr. Romero's family in their time. Lord, give them peace and comfort. And Lord, we ask you to be with us tonight as a council in peace and love and friendship on behalf of our community and the decisions we make for our citizens and our guests, all of our visitors. Lord, we thank you for all those who serve others and those who need you the most. Lord, be with them. In your son's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Councilmember Romero. Councilmember Howard.
Here.
Councilmember Tolan. Here. Councilmember Gonzalez.
Here.
Councilmember Bryant.
Here.
Councilmember Digglebale.
Yeah.
Mayor Carter.
Here. Make a motion to excuse Dr. Romero.
Second.
Stayed by Mayor Carter, seconded by Mr. Bryant to excuse Dr. Romero.
Councilmember Howard.
Yes.
Councilmember Tolan.
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant.
Yeah.
Councilmember Digglebale.
Yes.
Mayor Carter.
Yes. Open forum. At this time, the item is allowed 3 minutes per person to address the council on any topic. There will be no discussion or formal action taken during this agenda item. Speaker must identify themselves before speaking. The speaker requests form must be presented to the city secretary prior to the meeting. There it is. I mean, I saw it. Abel Lopez.
Hello, my name is Abel Lopez. I'm with Insta Science LLC out of West Texas. And I have a client of mine that is in your city and he is requesting to put up a big digital billboard in your town. My reason for being here is we want to understand what are the ordinances in your city for a project like this caliber to go up. Is it possible? Is it doable? What are the restriction heights? Things of that nature. So we wanted to see if this is a project that we can move forward with. It's proposed to be right on the corner of Highway 100 and Santa Isla Boulevard. So it would be right here in the corner, right and forward for everybody to see. That's here.
Thank you. New business, A, discussion, consideration of possible action on the following items. 1 minute, consideration of possible action to approve the following minutes, July 11th, 2023, town council meeting.
I just have one small correction. We're doing the next.
We're in the minutes.
Okay. I know I wasn't at the meeting, but there is just a misspelling of Chief Waters' first name on the first page. Very small. In the third paragraph under open forum.
Page two.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, William. The chief.
Waters.
On the same section. William.
Okay, so it's page
Baby.
two. under
Yeah.
open
Oh, yeah.
forum Where it says.
Baby's wrong too, though.
Oh, wait,
Oh, and maybe it's wrong too. Got it.
DEA. I think it's-
I'm not sure if it's one or two. That's definitely.
There's a D in there, yeah. Yeah, I know, I called it,
Still trying to find that one.
I called it DD the first time. CA. Anybody else?
We'll get rid of the minutes from July 11, 2023. We'll say.
Made by Councilmember Howard, seconded by Councilmember Diggle Bear to approve the July 11th, 2023 minutes as amended.
Councilmember Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Tolan. Councilmember Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Councilmember Digglebale,
Yes.
Mayor Craig.
Yes. That's two, financial reports, review and monthly financial report, Randy.
So we have, same packet as we normally do. Your first, page is your, bank reconciliation for the month of July. And then you have your statement of revenues and expenditures. And then the check register and balance sheets. So if you have any questions. Happy to answer them.
Point out to everybody, page one. On the revenues. The building permits. That was, we're below budget by $155,000. So we're under 171, but the majority of that is the building permits. So that's gonna make sure everyone's aware of that. Later on, we're talking about budget. So.
On that same note with revenue, we do have the last set of lease and franchise fees will be paid, in, before the year end, so that's why those two are so low. So we'll get another big, the lease payment and the franchise fee one more before the year closes, and so those are tracking to be right on budget.
Ms. Bryant?
And maybe it's just something I don't know. On page 2 of the check register. The invoice 1672 is paid twice. Does the number just repeat or?
I'm sorry, I'm saying that again, page 2
So
of
on
the
page
check
2,
register.
on the check register, it's 1, 2, 3. About 10 or 11 down, it's invoice PO 1672 City Hall office cleaning.
Yes, that's a different, just two different times. So it's one is for Maria. Yes, that's what we pay her each time to clean. So we have one PO, and so it's
My question was that the PO 1672, and then it's again, PO 1672.
so it's an open PO, so we
Okay.
do a PO for like the whole year, and then we use against it every time we have to check.
Thank you. I just didn't know that.
It's all good. I'm happy to answer.
Dolan?
On the revenues, the first page. Where we're behind on court costs. Is that, what's the reason for that, I may ask? it's not a scenario where, like we were last year, where we had some.
No, it's just, it goes, so this will just go on what we've written for tickets, and so if people haven't paid their tickets, if we have more outstanding than what paid last year, and so on and so forth. So,
So it's not an administrative issue that you're having, and you get some help with, right? Nothing like that.
no,
right?
our court expenses are higher than, you'll see that's one of the bigger increases on the expense side, but on the revenue side, we adjusted it for the difference, you know, for the what we did this year, but no, it's not, it's just based on the tickets that were issued in.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
no.
thank you. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Of course,
That court cost is state, that's a wash as far as the expense goes on the revenue side, right?
yes,
So it's whatever would come in goes right back out anyway.
yes, sorry, I didn't, was that a question for me? Yes, correct.
Correct?
Mhm.
Just wanted to make sure that we're not actually missing revenue, we're just.
We're behind on it, or.
No, it's a wash.
Yeah, it's a formula, so if they pay this much, we get it, and then we pay it to the state. So,
Anybody else have any questions, comments? Observations? No? Okay, moving on. Item number 2023-2024 TED budget consideration possible action to approve fiscal year 2023-2024 budget for the Community Development Corporation.
do you guys have a budget in here?
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Can we
can table this for,
just to the end, it's just that, we just need to print it, we have it, we just didn't get it put in the binder, so they approved it last night at their meeting. So, if we can just table it till the end, and then we will have it.
table the next meeting. So it's not a crucial
Okay,
issue right now. so
Okay.
There's plenty of time on that.
sure.
Moving on, item number 4, engineering contract, consideration of possible action to approve professional engineering services contract with Guzman and Munoz Engineering and Surveying.
So, last year we went out for engineering bids, we only got 2 bids from Guzman and, Mr. Cruz, and so, Mr. Cruz had done the initial review of the Sunset Breeze subdivision. It wasn't going well, so that has, for that, we haven't been wanting to use him again for that. He caused a lot more trouble than I felt like it was doing good for the city. So, we got to the point in the Sunset Breeze process that we needed an engineer to look at it for the construction set of plans. And so since the other bid that came in was Guzman and Munoz, I reached out to them and asked if they'd be willing to look at the Sunset Breeze plans for, you know, just the limited purposes of that subdivision. And so this is the contract that arrived, that it would be as a task needed. We're not contracting them to be the city engineer for any and everything, and we're obligated to him. It's just on a task by task basis. So if we have a project we want him to look at, so at this point, I'm using him for what we need in the Sunset Breeze subdivision review. Mr. Osuna has reviewed the contract and has suggested change it. Do you want to?
Yeah, the contract is fine. Substantively, I recommended some non-substantive changes to refer to us as the town rather than the city, and the town council rather than the city commission. Otherwise, everything in there is substantive. What we.
They were the engineers we used on the grant application for the drainage project that got us the big drainage project with the GLO. So I had briefly talked to them about this when I worked with them on that project to see if they would be willing to do that. And so that's kind of how it started. They said, yes, they would help. And they've been in business, I think, 34 years in the area. So
Super happy that we finally have an engineer for that project. So,
And also we have the completed contract, the graphic here, it looks like this is the one from the packet inclusion.
Yeah, I didn't get yours printed out, I'm sorry.
But we have it. It's just
This is, yeah,
the one that will be signed has down rather than city. So
Question on that is $200 per flat. That's the flat, it's gonna be a flat rate,
is my understanding.
right? It's not gonna be an additional hours on top of that.
Not for this, what was the?
they have an hourly rate schedule.
Yeah, they have an hourly rate schedule here on attachment B, but then they also have on section 3, they have compensation per written out as per flat. But the first day.
For flats, right, the $200, well. Yes, yeah, that's for the review, it's going to be 200, whereas other work. Is,
They have both of our work will be compliant, so.
yeah, this would cover things beyond that. The provision is currently planned for larger subdivisions with your review on an hourly basis, now. So when the review involves, the review of the construction plan, which could be not part of the subdivision plan project, that's when those hours are, yeah.
For that subdivision, so who's gonna pay for this?
We do, the city.
For the city?
Yeah, because they're looking at it on the city's behalf, and they're looking at it based on for the city.
I think because we only had like, so we only had like two the last time, and the other one obviously was a little bit more challenging. We didn't go out initially.
We went out for a town engineer, you guys approved it, and we went out, and the only two bids
We
were,
got the two.
yeah.
This is the second one.
Mhm. The one was, the original one we were using, and then this one.
And our plan application, you granting or violates. 250.
250. When they took the plat out for us,
Right.
yeah. So that would cost.
So we barely cover.
Yeah, we're
Bar labor.
200 of that will go out to these guys, and then 50 will be.
Administration.
That might- I think it's been.
I just wanted another comment, just how happy I am that we have an engineer finally, because I got a little stressed out. We are not engineers, we do not know, and it's a lot of responsibility that is on our shoulders, so I'm a little bit relieved now that we can give the specialists their job, what they know what to do. Thank you.
I just think that we need to review all of our fees to make sure that we're covering our costs and their costs. So.
I move to approve the professional engineering services contract with Guzman and Onions from the County Attorney. I'll second.
Motion made by Councilmember Cullen, seconded by Councilmember Vega Bell. Excuse me, to approve the engineering contract with Guzman and Munoz Engineering and Surveying.
Councilmember Howard,
No.
Councilmember Cullen,
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Councilmember Digglebale,
Yes.
Mayor Carter.
Yes. Okay. Item 5, executive session. Does anybody need to go to executive session right now? For any reason? Okay. Item 6, resolution 2023-20, ARPA funds. Consideration of possible action to approve resolution 2023-20 regarding the designation of ARPA. spending.
So this is on the agenda. We might want to table it until after the fiscal budget discussion. They kind of go hand in hand. So how the order we want to do it. But any decisions you guys might want to make about ARPA funds, we have to have an updated resolution. So this is just on here. So if you guys decide to use some of the ARPA funds, we can designate those funds now so we can start moving forward with the project.
I moved to move 6 after 7.
Okay.
We need to vote for that.
What was
Yeah,
that?
we are gonna mayor.
Yeah, we just shake it up around. Item 7, 2023, 2024 fiscal budget consideration of possible action on 2023-2024 fiscal budget.
Okay, so you guys have in the pocket of your packet, I did a brief overview of the budget, and then we also have the spreadsheet that'll break it down more specifically. So next page. So this is just to give you a summary. Our 2022-2023 tax rate was the 0.404124. The M and O rate brought us in 1.5 million, and the INS was 0.02, bringing us in 107. Everything that you're gonna see today is on what I'm calling the proposed property tax rate. It's using a 1 cent increase. It's not been voted on. This is just my giving you guys the example for comparison purposes. So if we use the proposed property tax rate of 0.414124, it brings us in for M and O 1,890,421. For the INS, it'll bring in $110,025. Our debt service payment is $109,378. The next one is our interest in sinking. This is what our debt service payments are. Last fiscal year, we paid $107,355. That left us in our account a surplus or remaining balance of $12,662. Our payment again is $109,378 with the proposed collection of $110,000. It'll leave us with a projected balance in that account of $13,637. So that's just where we're at for INS. Next one. So this again is just going on my proposed, the proposed budget is, so our projected revenue, total revenue would be about $2.7 million. The projected expenses is $2,699,085, which would leave us with a net surplus of $100,336. So to do the prior year comparison, last year our revenue was about 2.1 million. This proposed tax rate would bring us in about 2.7 million with all the other revenue accounts, obviously, giving us a difference of $304,133 between last year and this year. And then the prior year for expenses, last year we had $2,342,838 in expenses. This year it would, our proposed budget for expenses goes up to $2,699,085, which is a difference of $356,247. Of that 356,000, 53,346 is a 3% raise across the board for everybody. We're proposing a $1,000 wage equality adjustment. With the new building codes that we passed for the fire codes, we are required to do fire inspections on all the current businesses and such. So we're gonna just do a wage equality adjustment for Chief Waters. He is certified to be a fire marshal. So that way we have a local fire marshal to do such reviews. That's in the proposal. So the next one. So the biggest increases that make up that 356, so you have the raises is the 56,000 of it. The rest of it, City Hall has the insurance increases, health insurance went up, building, auto, obviously, because we have more cars that we're going to be covering, and our workman's compensation rates went up. The EMS is the increase of 250,000. That's the 4 full-time EMT positions with benefits and corresponding supplies and equipment. And then our court costs raised about, or need to go up about 15,000, so we can cover the costs. So this is our wish list. Obviously, you know, things can be changed or used however you want, but Crystal and I would like to buy the HR module for the MIP program. This will help track vacation, sick leave, all of that. That will be monitored and maintained within the program. Right now, it's just done on an Excel spreadsheet. So this will help in a lot of bookkeeping matters. It keeps everyone's personal information and the vacation, the sick leave, and it'll just all correspond with the paycheck. So if we put that they've taken 3 hours of vacation, it'll, on their pay stub, it'll automatically deduct it from their bank of time that they've earned, and so on and so forth.
In the 8,000, it's just a one-time payment, there are no more other following costs.
There won't be any more, because we already paid for our monthly stuff already. This is just to buy the module and set up in our system.
The 70,000 is already in the budget for,
I took it out,
you took it out.
yeah.
50, okay, you're right.
So we're proposing a vehicle cost for EMS at 70,000. When we get into the departments, I can give a little bit more on the vehicle. Obviously, police would like another police unit, 61,000. Public Works, he's not asking for both, either maybe a new tractor or $25,000 for the tractor attachments that we can do for the new tractor we bought. So, I mean, if you want to get them both, you won't tell you no, but So those are so that's just the big picture. And then we can, however, Mary, you want to go from there with, if you want to, what we have to do tonight is decide on the tax rate, and then everything else goes from there.
Okay, as you know, at the last meeting, we discussed the decision between Clark and EMS, right? We kind of came to the conclusion of doing the EMS and doing the park also, but in the 1 cent tax increase, I know it's hard to stomach, right? It is. But I did a list here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 towns. Portersville, Brownsville, Harlingen, La Verde, Los Fresnos, Rio Hondo, South Padre Island, and us. Portersville is 0.6, and actually like 0.70, Brownsville is 0.70, Harlingen is 0.60, La Verde is 0.76, Los Fresnos is 0.70, Rio Hondo is 0.81. SPI, which has a completely different financial structure than we do, is 0.29, and we're 0.40, 1.41. So we are considerably lower than any town near around us that has a similar financial structure that what we have, and we still have a much lower tax rate, and we have much lower sales tax revenue than any of those towns. And so, and our citizens would like better service. That's what I've been told. And by having such a low tax rate, we kind of hurt ourselves. And so like one, it's only $32,000, 1 penny, pay for our budget. And it's something like probably like $80 to $100 for a family in a year. But we're still, we have a huge increase in property values, and we have a big increase in new builds. And I think the new builds are going to slow down considerably in the next year. Go ahead.
When was the last time we raised the taxes?
Quite a long time.
A long time ago.
Yeah. Yes, there's- yeah, we didn't raise, we haven't raised the tax rate forever, and it's, even then, it was only a penny. I remember when we did that, and,
No problem.
I mean.
One penny, yeah.
It's really challenging because we are trying to really think about our residents and, I mean, we all know, we experience that it's really hard going grocery shopping, everything is just going up and it's not stopping. But on the other side, our residents are expecting a lot of services from the city. And we need to make sure that we can provide realistic goals. And so, and with Laguna Vista, really, we haven't done anything with taxes in such a long time. It's a bad timing right now, but I think it is necessary to go a little bit more into that one. And my challenge too is not the fear, but not really knowing what the economy will do, and if products and everything still goes up. Our difference we have to play with is not really a lot in that scenario.
In addition to that, the state did pass the $100,000 homestead exemption, okay, which will help in the school taxes, right? And so that will help out our local families, you know, but we're also gonna put in a whole new department. We're gonna put a whole new department in our city that we've never had. And we don't really know, we're hoping this is what it's gonna cost, right? And we're putting $100,000 as a buffer, right? But that, who knows if that's gonna really, you know. I mean, I almost proposed going up more on tax rate.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I would say going up to 44 tax would be a more prudent thing to do, which will not really be that big of a hit to any individual family. But then we're-
32,000 is like,
it's nothing,
no.
okay,
And
and,
like, if that's our buffer with the 100, it's like,
One car.
but
we hope
then,
that.
but then we'll be able to, then we'll be able to support the EMS going forward, right? I mean, in my opinion, this is a baby step towards our big goal, which is our big goal is to have, you know, a full-time fire, full-time EMS, full-time ambulance, or at least a contracted ambulance that's more close. So we have more on-time healthcare for our people. But it's just something to consider. And if we go up 4%, that's about like $125,000. Okay, which then we can cover most of the employee wages, you know, with them. So there's food for thought.
If I may add what both of you have said. If we didn't have such a tangible important life-saving service that can result from this, I think it would be a different story. This is definitely something that we can point to. It's a very critical service for our community that our citizens who are aging, generally speaking, have told us that it's important to them. So I think it's important.
We can use that as a good reason.
Right.
Well,
It really is. It's not like we just added this, that, and the other thing.
But let's do it with,
It's an important service.
Yeah.
people always say they have these services in Port Isabel and Harlem and Los Fresnos, the island. And we don't have it here, and that's because our tax rate is 2/3 of what they're. And even less than that, like half of them on some of them.
Years.
And so that makes up to why we can't afford to have that stuff. And so a little increase now, and hopefully we don't have to hit them really hard again, you know, in the future. So.
That's what would 5% amount to be. That's the crazy.
Well, when you look at the comparisons that you.
Right. Right. Citizens next year, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's, I completely agree. 42 is like,
Can we plug in numbers right now to just get numbers so we have an idea, like
it's $32,000 for every penny.
for everything? So that was one fund, and he said,
Or it's like $125,000.
I just hear more and more residents really wanting better services.
Well, and I think it would behoove us to make sure that we post something like this
Yes.
to the community for them to understand what the surrounding
Right.
communities,
Yes.
what they pay in tax.
And what this would be, what this would
And what we will get.
And what you will get for it. You'll have 24-hour service.
Right.
You know, your response time now is gonna be down to the single digit minutes versus 20.
It's amazing.
So. And our volunteer fire department is fantastic. They've been fantastic for years. But our community's growing tremendously, and we haven't changed our structure at all. I've lived over 22 years and there hasn't been no change in that, so. And then I also propose to do the majority of these purchases, except for the EMS vehicle, out of ARPA funds. The EMS vehicle, we can't do it out of ARPA funds because we need the vehicle like in 2 months.
Yeah.
And
So we have an offer that one of the current fire department volunteers was a fire chief in another local small town, and he has his truck that was fire chief ready. And he's wanting to sell to us for $33,000. It's a 2017 Toyota Tundra, has a light bar, it's ready to go. And so if you guys would approve using our funds, we can just buy it. If I use ARPA or anything like that, we have to go get bids and obviously we couldn't. So there's that option on the table for $33,000.
That's that 1%.
Just that 1%. How old is it?
It's a
That's our
2017.
that's our.
I think when we looked it up on CarMax, I think it was like 54 is what it, I mean, it's a really good deal. She's looked at it, Chief Waters looked at it, and Chief David has looked at it.
I haven't looked at it, on my by today to look at it, was all.
Okay,
I hear it's very, very nice. He already set up for, he was a fire chief. And he already set it up for his personal vehicle running here and there.
Chief Waters said it's immaculate. He's got every record of every oil change, everything that he's, so so it would be a $33,000 purchase versus a $70,000 purchase.
And sticker it up and make it look all pretty.
Yeah.
So
Any other thoughts? You don't have the line by line, do you?
yeah, the spreadsheet's in there
Oh,
of
it's right
the,
here. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm looking at it right now, actually. So if
So
you guys go through the budget, there's actually not a whole lot of change except for the payroll.
right, so
So-
we really tried to say, our budget was fine this year, we came in at budget, we didn't have to come to you guys throughout the year for any budget amendments, we stayed all within within what you guys allotted for us, other than the expenses going up, such as the insurance and things like that. Almost every department has stayed the same, within Maso Menos, $500 here, $500 there. But I'm happy to go through it line by line, but I mean, I don't even think there's one change in police by $500. They're really minimal. The ones I outlined in the slide are really the changes from last year.
And it's so nice because we always do it on a monthly basis with the numbers. It's so much easier now.
Yeah.
Thank you. It is so organized and thank
I haven't cried once yet, so we're doing okay.
I have a couple months.
Oh, the one big one, that wasn't on the thing is, we did add a line item for fire hydrant maintenance, so that way,
because
that way we can, make sure that they're, and that'll be for all of them in the entire town. So that was the other significant one for 10,000, but
That's a good rating. And it's that group system. Whether you cry.
yeah, it is try.
Go ahead.
But,
Ms. Nolan?
On that to make a motion.
oh, well.
We need to make a motion.
We'll need to approve the proposed tax rate tonight, so that we can publish the notice of the hearing, if that's the state, what the rate is and who voted how.
Before that. Before we vote on.
And then we'll have the two meetings that we approve the tax rate ordinance.
Well, then very good. Let's keep
okay,
it.
that's you.
Okay.
I just have a question,
Yes,
because
Ms. Howard.
what's in here in this packet? And you highlighted B, that's your,
That was just what, yeah, that was the
One
one,
penny.
that was the 1 penny.
So then Mayor Carter said 4 pennies, but that's not here.
No.
Can we like see it really quick or no? What was the numbers be?
I asked her.
Yeah.
But it's.
So this one here is 32,000 B, right?
Uh-huh.
Every penny is 32,000. 5 was right around.
It's 100,000
32 times 4, 120.
Yeah.
And then
for 4 pennies. Now, what would 4 cents add to our tax bill or to our taxes? You have the $43 average.
To the household.
Okay, so we're at the, do I have it in?
Oh, no, before.
Said it was the eight.
That was 1 penny.
But don't forget the 100,000.
So you break your house, it's $100,000, it's $40.
Okay,
So 200,000, $80, 300,000, $120.
okay.
And the state is $40.
Okay. Fine.
Like I said, this year is gonna be the worst year because the property tax relief bill won't affect this year's taxes, it will affect next tax.
Which will be helpful.
It will be helpful because then you'll have $100,000 reduced
Reduce out of your bill,
for your school tax,
For your school tax.
which is the majority of it.
which.
This is how we do tonight, you'll do the tax rate, and then if you guys give me this is, you're okay with all my numbers. On the 21st, you'll have the actual budget ordinance, and it'll show the numbers with the numbers that you guys use, and we'll do the first reading and the second reading. So you'll get to see the
Change
packet
between the first and
again,
the second.
right, so then if you guys see it like that and go, okay, we'll approve it with the amendments, and then we can do you know what I mean, like, so,
Yeah.
this is just, hey, go ahead and put it in the tax rate, so we can do the.
It's like a pre-first.
Okay, this is, okay, so.
So I'm very excited.
Okay, so in light of the fact that we as a town and city have not raised our tax rate in approximately 6 years. And in order to bring us in line with the services that we plan to offer with this new budget year, particularly regarding real-time EMS response time, I move to raise our tax rate by 5 cents.
I'll second.
We're going to force that.
No, but I move to make it. Have a second.
Yeah, Ms. Delaveo seconded, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Mayor's gotta.
Oh.
You want,
Thank you. Yeah, we have my picture board on.
you have.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Tolan, seconded by Councilmember Digglebale for 5 cents. Well, we're not doing that yet. We're just doing the fiscal budget right now, so we don't even have to do that. We can't do that.
Are we,
We're on number 7 right now.
Right. Here we go. We're on number 7. The discussion on the fiscal budget involves the discussion of what the tax rate would be. But the action item would be the item 8 for that tax rate. What I was saying earlier is that at the meeting tonight, we'll have to take action to approve the proposed rate, right? Well, proposed rate. And then both the budget and the final rate will be.
Except right now, we're doing number 7.
I move,
So we need to figure out what the increase revenue would be on that.
it's just over 150,000.
160 even.
Then I move to table item 7, consideration of possible action on the 2023-2024 fiscal budget until such time that the tax rate, if proposed and approved, is successful through 2 readings. So to the next meeting. Or the subsequent after that.
Yeah, let me jump in. The action on the fiscal budget is basically all we're doing there is reviewing a budget that will be based on a tax rate that gets discussed during that agenda item and then acted on in the next agenda item. We're not really required to take an action to approve a budget. Right, the most that we'll be doing under item 7 will be establishing a public hearing, which could also be covered under item 8, because we're gonna have a public hearing on both items on the 21st. Budget public hearing. We do have to provide the public with notice of both of those items. The only one that we're required to act on, or the administration needs a vote count on for the purpose of properly preparing notice is the tax rate. So if you wanted to take action on item 7 to approve a budget in contemplation of a city rates, you could do that. And then the next action item would be the actual item that fits that proposed rate. Or if you just moved on to item 8 and set the proposed rate, then whatever budget arises out of that would be based on that. So in other words, whatever action you take with regard to the budget on item 7, do it in contemplation of when rate you're.
So. My family members. That's all I was trying to figure out. Good stuff. So the average, homestead taxable value in the city of Laguna Vista is 225,702. Okay, so it's $112.85 for a 5-cent increase. Average. Okay. 112,085 cents. Less than that. Well, $9.40.
Okay,
So.
so
We're gonna get that one out there.
Tabling 7. That's what I was asking earlier.
Yeah, I know, that's what I just was trying to figure out what it
That's how
was.
my brain works.
I just couldn't find it, so I found it.
Or tabling 7.
Well,
No, you can approve 7. Doesn't matter.
yeah, the only action item that we would need coming out of 7 or that we could do coming out of item 7 is just to, approve a budget in contemplation of those specific rates. That someone will have proposed on item 8.
I make a motion to approve the fiscal budget 23-24.
No.
No.
We don't have.
Sorry. No, sorry.
For example,
Because they had already motioned.
Yes.
No, that was on,
that was
So we
number.
that was
We
8.
skipped 8, we skipped 7.
Okay.
We're actually on 7.
Sorry.
so for example, someone could move to approve a budget in contemplation of a tax rate of X.
That's how we're just trying to.
Just basic. Approve the fiscal budget as presented by the city manager 23-24.
Well, that's premised on a different rate than what it sounds like the council is wanting to do.
Okay.
Just let's go to.
Including,
Okay, subject to the tax rate approved by the council
There you go.
tonight.
so I thought it was already done.
Second,
Yeah, that's like what I thought it was already done.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, motion made by Councilmember Howard, seconded by Councilmember Fuller. To approve 2023-2024 fiscal budget with the tax rate as proposed in our discussion.
Councilmember Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Tolan,
yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Councilmember Diggle Bale,
Yes.
Mayor Carter.
Yes. Okay, item 8, tax rate consideration, possible action regarding proposed tax rate and setting public hearing.
Motion again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we also need to decide on a date.
So the date with the calendaring for when Mr. Osuna and I figured it out with because the way the newspaper publishes and it has to be posted for so long, is August 21st. Is what proposed, what the date I'm proposing for the public hearing. So then, we can have the second reading will be the 22nd or 23rd, just immediately following, because that way we can have it approved by the deadline. But it has to post for 10 days and I will put it in the paper tomorrow. Well, I have the deadlines tomorrow and it'll post Friday, so you can start counting from Friday. So the dates Mr. Osuna and I came up with was August 21st.
The Monday.
Correct.
And we would have up until 28th, have that second meeting for the second. So we don't have to make that.
Back to back.
Yeah, you can do back to back.
Right.
What, the 21st?
21st.
August 21st.
Yeah.
16, it's fine. Mhm.
I need to restate mine.
Yes.
Okay.
We have to read out the attack rates.
No, that's at the final.
The final.
Okay.
There's the proposal.
Okay, so with regard to agenda item number 8, tax rate, in light of the fact that we have not as a town raised our tax rate in approximately 6 years, and in order to get us in line with the important life-saving EMS real-time services that we plan to offer, I propose that we raise our tax rate by 5 cents.
I'll second.
Make a statement also. And when I first started on the council, we had about 120 day reserve in our fund balance. Then we dropped below 90. And well below 90 at one point, and it's taken me years to get it back. And by city charter, we have to have it over 90. We're finally back there again. And so I think this is an important thing to do, so we ensure that our town is fiscally healthy in possible emergencies in the future, and also to improve service. So, thank you. Motion made by Councilmember Tolan, seconded by Councilmember Digglebale to approve the tax rate as discussed.
Councilmember Howard.
Yeah.
Councilmember Tolan.
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant.
Yeah.
Councilmember Digglebale.
Yes.
Mayor Carter.
Yes.
I have a question, maybe I should have done it before, but I will leave just the INS, just whatever bare minimum to cover the payment and then the rest will go in the amendment, right? So there's that percentage just to cover that rate, right?
Yeah, the final tax rate is the old, as proposed is the.
0.45, 0.45, and then everything of that, just the INS will just go drop down to whatever will be that 110. And the rest will be
It should, but the way that those tax worksheets work, it will change it by some, and then, but we can make a resolution on the next one.
Do the penny.
Because we can move pennies, yeah.
Okay,
When we do the final, read, the motion will have to specify what the M&O portion is.
Yeah, no, exactly, but I'm just saying, because when you put those numbers back in the tax worksheet, it will change it, it always does.
okay, that's just wanted to make sure I'm good with that. I got it. No, it's-
Okay.
Thank you.
ARPA.
You want to go back to ARPA?
It's too late to have what I wanted to do.
Well, no, I was gonna throw it in the city manager report because I'm gonna present a, we're gonna do it as an ordinance and I'm gonna present it, the next meeting, so I'm gonna present it in city manager report.
Okay, all right, very good, all right, so back to ARPA. Okay, item 6, resolution 2023-20 ARPA funds, consideration of possible act to approve resolution 2023-20 regarding the designation of ARPA funds.
So, in front of you, you have the balance sheet for the ARPA funds. Right now, you have a remaining undesignated balance of $287,883.95. So this is if we can spend this instead of our fund balance on another police unit, on the, all the capital outlay wish list items, or something completely different. The only thing that I did I'm sorry, we found this out about 4 o'clock, is that, we are super short on electronic storage in, City Hall and PD. The encode that you have approved in here will help, release some of our storage. But, I probably will come to you guys at the next meeting with a proposal for more electronic storage, but, I think that'll be around $10,000, but just a mental note. I don't have anything ready for that, but, that's something we might need to have sooner rather than later. But, that's the only thing that's not, but I found that out about 4 o'clock when we went to go open a document and it was no longer there, and Frankie says our stuff is overwriting itself, so. But everything else is as presented.
So on the ARPA on here, we were just going to take out number 10, correct? No, not number 10. We were at what was the 34,000?
Oh, that vehicle, that was in a capital outlay wish list item for
The wish list
70,000.
item.
Yeah, so originally we had talked about buying the vehicle out of the EMS vehicle out of ARPA, but it's time,
Oh,
so
it's not here.
it's
Yeah.
not listed,
Oh.
no, because it's not been approved.
And this vehicle is different, right? We're talking about two different vehicles right now.
So, yeah, so right now, so as from ARPA, you guys have bought the fire department, fire chief, a new command one for the fire department. We bought a new police chief, a new police chief vehicle, and then the EMS vehicle will be a third
That
vehicle.
will be the time.
That'll be that's the proposed.
Okay.
And then Chief David is proposing another unit for the next year. Typically, we buy one police unit a year. It just seems like because they're all backordered, it seems like they're all coming on top of each other, but it's really not. We're still waiting on the one you guys approved from the last fiscal year, but
So these, the fire department vehicle and the police vehicle on the ARPA funds have not shown up yet.
no, there's POs, they are ordered. The POs have been put in, but no, they're not physically present, but the price is locked in, the PO's done, and,
But not deducted here yet.
but not what.
Not deducted.
No,
here.
it's deducted, yeah, so the undesignated is the 287.
So if we bought all of these things, 1 through 13, we would still have 287.
Yeah,
Yeah, we already approved all those.
I know, that's why I was like, wait, I'm confused.
Everything.
So do we need,
Sorry,
item
so why is it
13,
under- why
cloud
is it under
storage,
spend?
e-course, do we need to increase that to 20,000?
well, it's gonna be a different, yeah, it's gonna be different, it'll be different the way we have to go out for bids, so we'll do it as a separate item.
You see this on this column, on that page?
The
ARPA
spend,
funds? How come it doesn't come out in the spent if we already spent it?
okay, this is ones we've actually been able to cut the checks for, so this,
Gotcha.
so the 8 through 13 are obligated, but
Got it.
we haven't actually cut the check, so
That
they're
makes sense.
approved, but
Okay,
We've encumbered all of those.
got it, okay. But not.
we haven't actually had to pay for it, yeah.
Okay.
But we can't move forward with acquiring them until you guys approve the encumbrance of those
Okay.
funds.
Well, I think personally, the MIP HR model is super important, you know, I know that if you're still doing like the days and all of that through Excel. That's tedious work that could be put somewhere else. You know, everybody gets their, well, you know, the school district, their salary and with the pay stub, we have everything there. And nobody has to do anything with that, right? And of course, the EMS truck that y'all had said.
That can come out of our.
We're gonna pay that out.
Oh, the budget, oh yeah, that's right.
Along with the MIT.
Well, MIP can come out of either one. MIP can come out of ARPA if you would like. That's, y'all's choice. That's what you're having to decide now.
But how fast do you need it?
Actually, the MIP one will be easier because it's a sole source. They can't
Oh,
make us go out for bids.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that one goes a little faster because
Okay.
it's like, they can't say you have to, I mean, we're not gonna get another
Right.
module, so
Right.
that one's a little bit faster moving. So we'll
Okay,
be able to get that one sooner.
Or will you get it before October first?
I don't know, we could get it October 1st if you're paying for it or ARPA's paying for it,
Oh,
because we have to get it scheduled to come down and get it like, and you know what I mean,
Yeah,
but, I think if we do ARPA, by the time we get everything done,
That's fine.
you see what I mean?
And on the public works, we would make a decision if we're gonna buy another tractor. We bought one a couple years ago, I think.
Yeah, we have
Wow.
1.5 tractors right now. The new one's great, works great. The other one, we keep chugging it along. It's good. I mean, it still works. It just needs, it gets, the repairs are, you know, it's in the shop right now. So, but for the most part, it works. So it's,
Are the repairs exceeding its effectiveness?
no, not yet.
I wait on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's, we would be happy with either or, some more attachments, so we can do when we're digging the ditches to clear out the trenches like we've talked about, and,
I think it's actually, that's important.
What's the impact of not getting an extra?
the only impact would be is if our half the tractor croaks, yeah. That, I mean, so there's not,
Let me ask you a different way. So let's assume that now we tractor pass, and we didn't buy the new tractor, we just bought the attachments. So now we have one good tractor and some no attachments. What is the impact of that on, in terms of public works workload? In terms of like do we have enough manpower to operate two tractors anyway? Of course we do.
Yes,
we right.
yeah, so I mean, they would just have to schedule differently, you know, things would, when, instead of mowing two things at once or doing two different projects, it would slow things down, you know, but.
And we still haven't got any numbers for possible marina improvements. And so if we were to do the HR module, the PD unit and the tractor attachments, $94,000, that was $193,000, or $94,000. So hopefully we get some engineering, reports for the marina in the next couple of months. And, because we did promise them that we would give them our word. So I think we should make sure that we hold some funds over at least for a little bit until the Marine Association comes with us.
You said the attachment.
Yeah.
That's one part of it.
They were trying to pay the.
That's what they're. It's proposed.
Except the truck.
What I'm saying is that we buy the tractor attachments, the PD unit, HR module out of the ARPA fund. $94,000. Yeah,
It's still leaving us. Just about 200,000.
yeah, all right.
Is there any operational impact to buying those things with ARPA funds to you, G, or?
No, there's not. Well, I mean, we're just, the delay is what it is. I mean, the ARPA is not gonna be the delay on the vehicle, because we'll get it approved, and then it's just actually getting the vehicle in.
Okay, so
That's
there's no operational trade-off, choose to fund it this way versus through our ARPA funds.
No, I think, I mean, in my operation opinion, I think, Mary's right on the money with these three. Cause we should have another vehicle coming in anytime from the last fiscal year. We'll have the new fire chief, vehicle coming in, and then we'll put this one on, so if once it starts to flow,
Next year
we'll have another one, yeah. So we just have to get it designated, and then, that way you can start the ball rolling.
The plant got going again to make emergency vehicles. They got going again, still, we got, still a microchip shortage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Everybody in the country is waiting on this.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to consider approving or designating funds to purchase the capital outlay as presented by the city manager.
Okay, so
The vehicle?
I'll read it.
Okay.
Resolution 2023, ARPA funds, consideration possible action for resolution 2023-20 for MIP HR module for 8,000, police PD unit for 61,000, and tractor attachments for 25,000 for a total of $94,000. I believe an outstanding balance of $193,883.95 in the ARPA funds. Motion made by Commissioner, Councilmember Howard, seconded by Councilmember Gonzalez.
Councilmember Howard,
Yeah.
Councilmember Tolan,
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Councilmember Diggle Vale,
Yes.
Mayor Carter.
Yes. Item 9, resolution 2023-21, consideration of possible action to approve resolution amending bank signature.
Kind of speaks for itself. We need to take council members off and add council members on. So we are removing Mr. Worrell and Mayor Smith was still on there. So those are being removed and Mrs. Bryant and Dr. Romero are being added.
I move to approve resolution 2023-21 to approve the amended bank signatories as signed by all of us.
Second was first and second.
Motion made by Councilmember Dolan, seconded by Councilmember Gonzalez to approve resolution 2023-21, amending bank signatories.
Councilmember Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Tolan,
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Councilmember Diggle Vale,
Yes.
Mayor Carter.
Item 10, city manager report.
So I'll kind of go over each section and then I'll start and see if you have questions. The Texas Park and Wildlife Grant was submitted on July 31st. And this is a small city coalition or the small cities grant that you guys approved at the last meeting with Patty Alexander. With our $150,000 match, the $150,000 grant, it'll be a $300,000 grant. The estimated receipt of the denial or approval is in January of 2024. Upon the receipt of getting the notice that we've received that grant, we will begin working on the Legacy Foundation grant that will be due in May of 2024. And that grant's in the amount of $500,000. And that is usually given to us it's usually designated by August of that following year, 2024. So by August, September of 2024, we will have hopefully both grants approved and a total of $800,000 to do the roll-up park improvement. Before then, we can go ahead and start doing the design and getting plans laid out and things like that to look at. So Miss Patty and I will look at that, what kind of equipment we're going to get and things like that, and start moving with the design phase. So we did the Texas Park and Wildlife, with it. I just thought you guys should know we got letters of support from Commissioner Garza, Senator Lamantia, Representative Lopez, Representative Gonzalez, and then Vic Rose also sent in a letter of support on our behalf for this. So it was really nice. Anyone have any questions on that? ARPA we just did, so I'm not gonna waste your time. The Garden for Wildlife by National Wildlife Federation, I applied for a donation for, they do native wildlife plants. I came through my email and they said we can apply for a donation for native plants. And so I said, okay. And so I did. And so we were awarded a, it's called a medium garden value of a 20 by 20 feet, 400 square feet of plants. So it's approximately 192 plants that we will be getting from them as a donation. So if I looked on their website and their plants range from anywhere from $38 to $108. So it's más o menos, if you take the average, about $14,000 worth of native plants that they're going to donate. So I reached out to Mr. Gaitan of the Master Naturalist, and he's gonna, it's set for delivery on September 28th. So he'll be here to help see what we've got, see where it should go, what we need to do to keep it, you know. Yeah, I have no idea what we get, but their whole purpose, I put the link there. I'll email my report so you can click on it. But the mission of the Garden for Wildlife program is so every plant that's sold on their website, they put one back for the donation program. So for every one sold, they reserve one to do in the donation program. So that will be a nice addition wherever we put it. there's no change on the drainage grant. We're still just waiting for the contract, which is typical. I touched base with our representative, said this is, it's slow happening. Dollar General has opened. I never got a notice. I saw it I read it when everybody else did it on Facebook. Miss Bryant went in there.
I was in there today and I asked them. They were gonna have a grand opening and she said that it's usually 2 to 3 months now after they open their.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go.
They need some money
So
first,
that
right?
Yeah, they have to raise some money for the grand opening.
They're gonna be making money, that's for
So I will let you guys read the police and library, all the departments, unless you guys.
But I like your point, medical calls.
Mm-hmm. We took that. That one, yeah.
So,
Oh, did you want, I didn't hear that. And then the last item that I want to discuss is you guys should have this, I think it was in where your presentation was. This is just an example. One of the things Mr. Mayor Carter and I were discussing is, we have a fund balance, but when we look at our big picture and when you look at our audit, our fund balance says you have a $1.4 million fund balance, but what that doesn't show is where it's designated, what it's doing. So we by charter have to have the 90 days that he mentioned earlier. So what we're proposing to do is do an ordinance that would designate part of the fund balance to certain categories. So for example, for this current fiscal year, 2022-2023, I'm gonna propose that we designate $580,000 to a restricted fund account that would be the 90 days that we would need for that. So nobody in the future could say, hey, we're gonna spend past that 500, that is blocked off and not available for consideration. Then like we've committed to the 150,000 for the roll-off park improvement. So then that would be designated in or the first one where we want to call a restricted use fund, because by charter, we cannot use that 90-day fund. Then we designated 150,000 for the park, which then leaves a more realistic number of what actually our available fund balance is. And doing it this way, we can set it up in the accounting system. So in the audit, it will list it out as those things are designated. And then as we get our capital, or as we get our asset improvement program back updated and things you guys decide and designated, you can add to this or increase. And then like the next fiscal year, we would increase whatever expenses are gonna go up, we would increase, we would do an ordinance to increase that. So there's always, so we never get to the point where they just kind of been past your 90 days. So I that needs to be done. I talked to Mr. Austin, it needs to be done by.
without board approval, so then the board's on it.
Right. So that does, well, we think it'd be cleaner if we do it in an ordinance. And so I'll present the ordinance at the August 21st meeting for the first reading. So that way we can get the 2022-2023 designations done. It's just it'll be cleaner and it'll be more clear to everybody what we're actually working through. So. I'm so welcome.
Is that it? Any more questions for the city manager?
Anything else?
All right, move to adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Made by Councilmember Gonzalez, second by Councilmember Sullivan to adjourn.
Councilmember Howard, Councilmember Tolan,
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Councilmember Digglebale,
Yes.
Mayor Carter.
Everybody knew that.
Um,